Have you ever looked at a simple 1-cent coin and thought that it might carry something far deeper than just its face value? Because what you are about to hear is not just a discussion about old pennies. It is a journey through American history, captured in copper, passed from hand to hand through decades of war, peace, struggle, and transformation. These are not just coins. They are silent witnesses of time itself. And today, we are going to uncover four specific Lincoln Wheat Pennies: the 1940, 1946, 1951, and 1956 D. At first glance, they may appear identical to millions of other pennies, but each one represents a completely different chapter in the American story. And by the end of this video, you will understand why even something as small as 1 cent can hold such powerful meaning. To truly understand their importance, we first need to understand what a Lincoln Wheat Penny actually is. This coin was first introduced in 1909, created to honor Abraham Lincoln, one of the most respected presidents in United States history. It was a groundbreaking design at the time because it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical person instead of symbolic figures. On the front, it carries Lincoln's portrait, along with the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year of minting. On the reverse side, two wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the national motto, EPLURIBUSUNUM, which means out of many, one. This design was used for nearly 50 years, from 1909 to 1958, making it one of the longest-running and most iconic coin designs in American history. But what makes these pennies truly special is not just their design. It is the era they lived through. Let's begin with the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance, it may seem like just another old copper coin, but when you place it into its historical context, it becomes something much more meaningful. In 1940, the world was standing on the edge of chaos. Europe was already being consumed by the early stages of World War II, while the United States still remained outside the conflict, watching carefully as global tensions rose. Life in America still carried a sense of normalcy, but beneath that surface, everything was beginning to shift. Factories were preparing for possible war production, government policies were adjusting, and families were sensing uncertainty about the future. The 1940 penny was minted in this fragile moment, a moment of peace that existed just before one of the most devastating wars in human history. Millions of these coins were produced and circulated widely, meaning they were held by everyday Americans who had no idea how quickly the world would change. When you hold a 1940 penny today, you are essentially holding a piece of pre-war America, the final calm before the storm that reshaped the entire world. Now we move forward to the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny, and here the entire mood of history shifts dramatically. The year 1946 marks the beginning of a new America, a country emerging from the shadows of World War II. The war had ended in 1945, and millions of soldiers were returning home to rebuild their lives. Cities that had focused on weapons and war production were now transitioning back to consumer goods, housing, and economic growth. The 1946 penny represents this powerful moment of recovery and rebirth. It was one of the first coins minted in a peaceful post-war America, symbolizing hope after years of global destruction. Imagine this coin passing through the hands of a returning soldier buying his first meal at home, or a family finally rebuilding their future after years of sacrifice and fear. That emotional weight is what makes the 1946 penny so significant. It is not rare in the traditional sense, but its historical importance lies in what it represents: the return of peace, stability, and the beginning of modern American prosperity. Next, we move into the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny, and this is where the story becomes more complex. The world is no longer at war, but peace is not fully secure either. The Cold War has begun, and the United States finds itself in a tense global standoff with the Soviet Union. Fear of nuclear weapons, political rivalry, and rapid technological development define this era. At the same time, America itself is changing rapidly. Television is entering homes, automobiles are becoming more common, and a new consumer culture is beginning to shape everyday life. The 1951 penny exists right in the middle of this transformation. It is a coin that represents contrast, peace at home, but tension in the world. Families might have used this exact type of penny while watching early news broadcasts about global conflict or hearing discussions about nuclear threats for the first time. It is not a rare coin in terms of production, but historically, it is extremely valuable as a reflection of a world balancing progress and fear at the same time. It quietly carries the story of a generation living between hope and uncertainty. Finally, we arrive at the 1956 D Lincoln Wheat Penny. This coin represents the closing chapter of an entire era. The D mint mark stands for Denver Mint, one of the main coin production facilities in the United States. By 1956, America was experiencing a powerful economic boom. Suburban neighborhoods were expanding rapidly, cars were filling highways, and television had become a central part of family life. The country was modernizing at an incredible pace, but something important was also coming to an end. Just a few years later, in 1959, the wheat penny design would be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design, ending nearly half a century of continuous use. This makes the 1956 D penny one of the final wheat pennies ever produced. While millions were minted and circulated widely, most were heavily used in everyday transactions, which makes high-quality versions increasingly harder to find today. This coin represents the end of a historic chapter, the final stage of a design that had witnessed world wars, economic depressions, recoveries, and modernization.